Have you noticed that the closest people to you, whether it's a partner, a roommate, a friend, a family member, usually trigger deeper things inside of you? We often think that it's chemistry or conflict, but what we are really experiencing, it is an opportunity to repair things that we have been carrying for a very long time. I like to think of relationships as mirrors, or even better, I like to say that relationships can be a playground, obviously depending on how we approach them. um, for anyone in the spiritual space, in the self-discovery space, I'm sure you are familiar with this feeling of meeting up with an old friend or meeting a new friend, a new relationship, opening up to a new relationship in your life, and realizing that the dynamic, what you are experiencing with this person, it is familiar. It's, you get the feeling like, I've been here, I have felt this way before. And a lot of the times we're busy, we're doing things, and we just let this opportunity pass, this opportunity to resolve, to repair. um, I've been sharing on my videos that I am, we can say, a little tired of using the term healing. I think we've been using it for too long now, especially since the pandemic. We've been talking about inner child healing and all the many different modalities of healing, and I am finding way more interesting and inviting and exciting the word repairing, resolving. So yeah, just wanted to share that. So a lot of the times it is, not all the times, no, I think every single time it is a beautiful opportunity for us to repair something. Because if we go back to this concept, to this idea that I'm sure you're also familiar with, of let the triggers lead the way. Whenever we feel triggered, whenever we feel an emotional activation, that's an indicator. That's our body's alarm system telling us there's something here. And the thing that is in there is something that we just haven't resolved. It is an emotion that it's been in a loop inside of us, that is still a storage, is still there, waiting for us to create the space to resolve it, to take care of it. So I am someone that enjoys, I have shared also in my other videos, I enjoy so much any tool that supports our self-discovery journey or spirituality journey. And so I'm a fan of using astrology. I'm not gonna get too deep because I don't like to push astrology too hard on people. I always share the invitation to explore this tool because it's been super helpful. I think in my story, in my process, what has helped me the most with what has helped me the most has been with understanding not only my needs but people around me, uh, understanding their needs as well. I think I think we all are so different and we all have gone through different experiences in our lives. And yes, it is true that there are some people that since they are very little, they have an amazing sense of who they are and what they want and what they need. And for a lot of us, I don't want to say that there's, one right way and another, wrong way of doing life. I think we're also unique. And anyway, I just want to say that it's an amazing tool to understand our needs, and I think it's just one of those things that we can just try it out. It's not gonna make us a worse, it's not gonna make us a bad person just because we try it for a little bit and we explore it and we see, okay, this actually makes sense and it actually sounds like the way I am, and actually it sounds like, yeah, these are the needs that I do have and what I've been waiting my whole life to understand. So I'm bringing this up in this video because that's something that I've been using for a very long time. Once I understood my energies, I've been using it in this space of relationships. um, once I understood my energies, I started playing around. Yes, I have to admit that I got a little obsessed with astrology. I think it's very normal to get obsessed with all these tools for a little bit, and maybe not. I think it happens for all of us that we start understanding our dimmer, our internal dimmer, and we figure out the way, how much we can use these tools. So I got my chart, I got my friends' charts, my family's, everyone's. And I became very good at reading the energy of people around me. And I have to be honest, I still, whenever I get the chance, when I'm spending a lot of time, the closest people, as I said at the beginning of the video, the closest people in my life, I do ask for their chart, and I take a look, because it gives me a roadmap to understand those things that activate inside of me, those things that I see activates in them, and it just creates that it's allowed us to navigate way softer and easier all these dynamics, and it becomes very clear what is that thing that is waiting for us to resolve it. So I want to share a little example of yeah, especially this year. I feel like energetically in astrology, if you are into astrology, or just you don't have to be, a fan of astrology, but I think we have seen a lot of changes. Things are moving so quickly with all the stuff that is going on in the United States with politics, and AI is just moving so fast that we've been seeing a lot of changes very quickly. So I want to say that at the same time, all these things are changing, and yeah, it feels like things are just evolving, and we, of course, are evolving at the same time. So we can almost say that the pace of how we are developing, the pace as you know, for anyone that is in this journey of self-discovery, I think we're just like getting quicker to the root of things. We are quicker learning the tools, and I'm sure you're agreeing with me. So I want to say that if you have been in the space of self-discovery for a while, you probably feel like you are having an up level this year. It feels like you know so much about yourself already, and you are getting to apply all the things that you've been learning, all the investment you did for many years. I'm sure you're feeling like, now I get to navigate life with all this awareness of who I am and what I want. So the one thing that I wanted to share, just to give you an example of how I navigate and how I use astrology in this space of relationships, it's that, of course, I have an understanding of the main patterns and dynamics with my family, which is with the caretakers, usually our parents, but maybe some people didn't grow up with their parents, but the people that were around us when we were little, that's when we start creating those core dynamics, those core patterns, right? The ones that are repeating and repeating over and over through our lives. So I have an understanding of that, and I think maybe I have a few videos where I share a little bit of this too. There's a lot of Leo energy. There's a lot of it for people that don't understand what Leo energy is. There's a lot of control dynamics in my house. I grew up with, that's the dark side, the dark side of my story. I'm not coming from a place of judgment or resentment. I love my family, but that's, what I experienced growing up. So I had during my life many moments where I had these dynamics with work, with relationships, with friends, where that pattern of someone being dominant, we can use the analogy, not the analogy, the example of the narcissistic behavior and the people pleasing, or the or empathic person. I've been on the side of the people pleaser or empathic person, attracting attracting very dominant and narcissistic people with a lot of narcissistic behaviors. So that was very strong for many years in my life. It was loud, like it was very uncomfortable and frustrating, and I had to learn all these things, all these tools to break free, I think we can say, of the emotions, not the dynamics, because that's something that I want to share and bring up to this conversation, to this video. I don't think we ever get rid, or those dynamics disappear in our lives. I think they continue repeating, but the intensity is different, and the awareness we have is way, so it's just, that's what I'm experiencing, and that's what I'm assuming a lot of people is experiencing this year, that we are having this acceleration on understanding who we are. And so they continue presenting in our lives. We just have way more awareness, and we can relate to these parts, not only to the parts of ourselves, but to the people that are part of those dynamics. Point, you might be asking how I can use astrology to have this understanding, and probably if you're familiar with astrology, you already know how to use it in the context of relating to others. But if you are new to astrology, if you're not very familiar with astrology, the way I do it, it's once I understand the core emotions that you experienced when you were little, and once you understand your chart and the chart of the people around you that were part of the dynamics that created those emotions for you, then I'm going to share my example so you can find your own version of this. But let's say, going back to my family and what I was sharing about being very Leo energy was very present. I wanted to say something else, I forgot. The Leo energy was the one that it was a little bit more difficult for me. As a Pisces, and having a lot of Pisces in my chart, also having a moon in an earth sign. My moon is in Taurus, and two of the people in my family, my dad and my sister, they both have fire moons. So yeah, I think there was that combination for me of being very sensitive, very grounded in my emotions, and just a lot of the fiery, very reactive energy. So we operated very different, and the let's say the low vibrations, because when I've been saying that I don't want to get too deep into astrology, but it's just so easy for me because I like it so much. It's so easy for me to just start sharing everything I know. So basic stuff. There are high vibrations and low vibrations of each energy in astrology. So some of the low vibrations of the Leo energy can be that they can be very self-centered, that it's hard for them to understand that others might experience life in a different way. They have the tendency, when they're running in the low vibrations, to feel that they are the ones knowing exactly how things should be, and they need to go first, and everything is around about them. So people with placements in Leo, in this Leo energy, can have those tendencies. So as a Pisces, having a lot of the Pisces, being a very caring, giving person, very empathetic, always searching for the inner connections and outer connections, the connections between everything. I think, especially with my moon in Taurus, my nature was of wanting lasting relationships, relationships that feel balanced, sustainable. I think, yeah, we can say that I'm on the slow side of feeling into things, and having these other very fiery energies, wanting things to go fast and very missing the words that I want to use, but yeah, very dominant, right? Like they wanted to go first, and they had a lot of that energy of, especially my dad with the moon in Aries. Um, so that was a lot of where my core emotions created in my childhood, right around these dynamics, dealing with these um, interactions, for many years. That's how we start creating those patterns, those behaviors, and we go into our adulthood. And subconsciously, it's not that we are aware of this, but we keep repeating those patterns. We keep expressing ourselves, relating to others from these same places, and also we continue attracting similar energies because it's what is familiar, until we start breaking out of these behaviors, which I have a lot of videos where I share how I have done it and how I invite people to do the same, how I teach a few of the techniques that I've been using, to create new behaviors, to reframe your sense of reality, to work to, as I said, I'm really struggling using the same words and the same terms that we have been using for so long in this space of self-discovery, self-development. But yeah, to repair, it's the one that I want to use, but also, with behaviors, we really need to rewire new stuff, new ways of being. So I will link those below in this video, like how to create new habits, how to shift from perfectionism and many other behaviors. Anyway, so let's go back to our subject of today's video, which is how to use interactions with people as an opportunity to repair, to resolve emotions that been needing that attention, that been wanting to be resolved in our lives. So I gave you a little landscape of what was the dynamics, what I was feeling and what I was needing in my childhood, so you can try to do the same if you already, let's say, your chart and already a little bit of the dynamics with the people that you had around you when you were little. So once I have new interactions, and one of those interactions with people that I feel like, okay, I am again in a familiar space, I'm feeling again some of those emotions from the past, then I'll pause, take a little break, a little moment to feel into the energy and recognize. Again, if I have access to the chart, it's just way easier. Usually when there's something activating for me, the person that is coming into my life, the old friend or the new person, has as almost like a recipe. Usually they have same energies as my family. So that's why it's so easy and so fun to use astrology. It's almost like it is super accurate most of the time. So whenever I get the Leo energy, the presence of Leo energy, that's a moment for me to, take a look. That's how I use astrology in this space of relating with others, and using these interactions, these relationships that come to our life that makes us feel familiar emotions as a canvas, as an opportunity to repair, to resolve emotions that haven't been resolved. So once we are at that space, I want to say that it's for a lot of us, we resist it. We are like, oh, I don't want to feel those feelings again, and it's very easy to escape from the situation. We're just like, okay, I don't want to engage in this relationship, I don't want to talk with this person anymore, I just don't like them. But I think I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, like this phrase that it's very well known, especially in the self-discovery space, let the triggers lead the way. Like, why not? Why not to sit with the discomfort that a interaction, the dynamic with the new person or the old friend that is coming back into your life? Why not to sit with that discomfort and explore? Once we explore, once we realize that we can actually sit and nothing too bad is going to happen, there's just, a lot for us, a lot of magic, and a lot that we get to transform. So yeah, I think it's not more complicated than this. Just sitting with the discomfort, understanding what is the part of yourself that is being activated. I do have other videos where I talk about inner child integration, healing, repairing, resolving different forms, how we can do it. There's tons of information out there. I think, yeah, we tend to make it complicated, and it's just very easy. I want to say that these days ChatGPT is a great resource to, in case you are like me that don't feel like you need to work with a therapist or a coach all the time. There are times for that, but when you feel like you can do it by yourself, honestly, just get a chat in ChatGPT and tell the chat what you want to do, what are your goals with the chat. And you can say that you want to do a little bit of inner child integration. So yeah, once you sit with the dynamic, you understand the emotions that is bringing up, the emotions that this new person needs, this relationship is activating in you. You just want to sit with your inner child, because what is telling us that activation is that it's still active, and that that little version of yourself is still in shock, not being able to process the emotions. And it's very simple. If you look at children, what children need is presence, love presence, presence with a lot of compassion and acceptance and love. So yeah, just to share a little bit of what you can do, you can see it, depending on it's the more we do these exercises, these practices, I guess the more we start tuning into the specifics of the memory. Like, how old was the little version of yourself? Sometimes we realize that the emotion that's being activated is when you were 4 years old, or when you were a teenager. Just to share a little bit, the teenager version of myself is the one that is being activated these days. So that's super cool to have an idea of go as that deep, because then you would know a little more of the needs of that version of yourself. What a 4 years old child would need is very different than what a 14 years old teenager would need, right? So I just sit there, and I'm sure if you are in this video, you're probably in your mid-20s, mid-30s. You probably have interacted already with people from that age, kids from that age. So just feel into, what do you think that little version of yourself would want? And you can ask, like, as I said, the more we do these practices, the more we start tapping into that beautiful space that we just almost like we travel in time, and we meet them. And so you can use ChatGPT. You can say, help me to understand, help me to identify what this version of myself needs. So a lot of the times they want to hug. We all are so different. A lot of the times they want to play, depending on the situation that triggered that emotion. They might need reassurance. They might need just sitting with them, letting them have a tantrum. Yeah. So that's what we can do. And I want to say, like, I feel like I'm trying to look back in my process, in my journey of self-discovery. I feel like there are times where we have expectations and we think like, oh my God, I do one time this practice and it's gonna be gone. And we are so different. For some people, the healing, the resolving, the repairing can be as quick as that, depending on the intensity of the emotion. a lot of the times, depending on where we are, it might requires a little bit of a little more presence. So whenever we interact with, we go back to that dynamic. It's very important, and I really recommend that you bring that awareness of the practice you just did, right? Just bring it with you. I think a lot of the times there's a tendency of say, okay, I will just do a meditation, a yoga class, ayahuasca, mushroom strip, and then, it's an experience in the past. No, we gotta integrate all these things into our life. So it's like they come with us. So you go back in that dynamic with, again, old friend, new friend, family members, whoever it is, the closest people in your life that are creating those fun emotions. And yeah, just be as present as you can with this awareness of this integration you did, and explore the feeling. I am 100% sure that after you spend time with that, after you resolving, you know being sitting there with your inner child version of yourself, um, the intensity of the emotion is going to be less and less and less and less and less. And then you're going to start noticing your nervous system, how as you start relaxing, you start tapping into new things, new versions of yourself. You start meeting new parts of yourself that you haven't been able to meet them because they've been just like so what's a good way to explain this, like contracted inside of you. They haven't been able to expand, to leave your body. And the beauty and the magic that happens, that now you get to experience that dynamic with these people from new places that you haven't explored. So why not? Why not to tap into those new places and new versions of yourself? So that's a little bit of what happens. There's way more layers of how close we can get in our relationships with others and with ourselves. This is just one baby step that you can start taking from today. And as everything in spirituality and self-discovery, the more we practice, the more we tap into this energy, the more we explore, the farther we get. So I wish you the best. I hope you enjoy a lot doing this practice, doing this exercise, and you enjoy a lot your relationships with the closest people in your life that are giving you the opportunity to repair and resolve these emotions from the past. So much peace and love. I hope to see you on my next video.